What's up, everybody? About 5 minutes out from Saturday Sports Countdown. Trying it podcast style again today. Did it last Saturday. It worked out really good. So for TV and radio purposes, we have to stay to a little bit more of a disciplined schedule. So we'll be able to talk to you during the breaks and chat away as TV and radio go to commercial. But we'll start here in just a little bit. But right out of the gate, we'll be talking about the quarterfinal round of the playoffs, man. Some crazy games last night and some shockers. Now, we won't dive into that right now. We'll wait till the show starts. But, man, as I saw those scores come across, I was surprised, especially in some of the lower classification games. Some teams, they had a heartbreaking end to their season, man.
I was surprised how close some of the games were, Brett. Didn't expect a few of those games to stay as close as they were, and it came down to the end. Was it Class 3A?
3A.
Every game in Class 3A. What a classification last night that
Right.
was. Games coming down to the end. Piedmont and Fife. Could you imagine being in a better spot
Oh my gosh!
Piedmont and Fife going into overtime last night?
That was my call yesterday, along with Central Clay and Montgomery Catholic, and then of course I thought that Hoover Phoenix City game would be pretty good, and it ended up being pretty good. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that here in just a little bit when we get ready to go live in about 3 minutes for Saturday Sports Countdown, which has been on the air right at 20 years. So
I guess there's a first time for everything, Brett. First time I've done this. It's been a lot easier from our podcast standpoint.
Right.
And our views have gone up tremendously. So we thank all of you. Find us on YouTube.
Right.
We're really trying to work all of the outlets as hard as we can, including TikTok. We're having daily TikTok posts that are going out there, just hot topics of the day, whether it be in the Auburn side of sports or nationally or the Alabama High School Athletic Association as we come down to the Super 7. If you've got topics you'd like for us to discuss, send them our way.
TikTok famous, right? Is that what we are?
Not yet. Unfortunately, we would like to be, but
yeah, we're not. No, we're not.
Hopefully, but we're working on it.
Hopefully, we will be. So, watching a little Alabama Bass Trail as we get ready to head into our show right now. So.
You would.
Yep.
You know what I'm not watching?
Alabama Bass Trail.
Alabama Bass Trail.
Yeah, I'm not watching Alabama Bass Trail. So
no.
Yep. Fished that trail 3 years. It was fun. You figure out how good you really are when you go fishing that trail, buddy. That's some of the best fishermen that are not on an Elite Series tour. Those guys,
I bet,
pretty much fish for a living. Those are a bunch of guys that have a business that's on cruise control, or they don't care if they go to work at all. And because they go practice, and if you aren't practicing as much as they are, they're gonna kick your butt. So that's just the way it is. But it's fun. That's a fun trail. You get to go to, you're pretty much all over the state and fish. And
Craig, we know we're live, buddy. We're going on the television side here shortly. So everybody that's tuning in, you're getting a little behind the scenes.
Yep, y'all are live. We are
going
live. No, we're about to go live here in about when it hits 7 o'clock, and here in just a second we're about to go because I'm still watching guys walk across the stage on the Alabama Bass Trail, so holding their fish up.
Fun times.
Somebody just won $25,000. It was worth their time.
Who's the big sponsors for that trail?
AmFirst Bank, and I think AmFirst is like the biggest sponsor.
Okay.
So Phoenix Boats, Jax is another big one for them. All right, here we go. We're counting it in. All right, good morning to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett Pritchard and Randy Lee here with you for a couple hours to get your Saturday morning started. We're glad that all of you have joined us out there, wherever it is that you're joining us, and lots of different ways to join us now. As 2 weeks in a row, we try our podcast for Saturday Sports Countdown. I see us up on the TV now, so we look great. As great as we can look, okay? I'm talking
Well,
about,
we're getting old, Brett. We've been doing this
logistics.
Well, here's our normal Saturday morning, especially when our local high school football team is playing well. We're getting in very late from a road trip, trying to barrel our way up to late broadcasting for you and I to sit there and semi look like we're not totally losing our mind after being on air. I don't know how many hours straight, and right now, look at us. The new age, things keep changing, and we're trying to roll with the times, and the times are moving, and we're going to stay right there with them. So we appreciate all of you finding our podcast daily. Brett and I are working really hard with that, trying to make sure we put enough time in to keep constant content going on out there. We go live about 8 every morning on our social media outlets, and we'll talk about anything. I mean, Brett started talking about bananas taped to a wall this week, and he went on a 15-minute rant.
I'm still pissed about that, by the way.
Yeah, he wanted to be the $6.2 million winner of the banana artist taped on the wall, and we still haven't found our outlet, have we, buddy?
Man, how many times have I held a roll of duct tape in my hand, and I just thought, hey, they say duct tape can do it all. Well, it can get you $6.2 million too. Hey, while we're at it, I want to remind everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Those numbers keep going up too. We appreciate it. Go out there and find our Auburn Blitz YouTube channel. Auburn Blitz. You can go out there and search it. Subscribe if you like our content. And we stream everything on that YouTube channel, including our Sports Blitz Live and Saturday Sports Countdown shows. So make sure you go out there and check those out. But we are here on the Saturday Sports Countdown, and we are in the first hour of the show here in football season. That means it is time to talk some playoff football. Last night, as Glenn comes in and says, great high school game last night. Wadley keeps rolling, and we're going to get into that in detail here in just a minute. But like I said in our little pre-show before we came live on TV and radio, man, I tell you, some really, really interesting and surprising results last night, all the way up and down classifications. And there's some teams that look like they were on cruise control throughout the season that are not going to make it to Birmingham, because this third round is almost poison for a lot of teams. I mean, you and I talked about it all week. You see some of the better matchups really all year. A lot of times you look at this round maybe as a state championship style round. Even better maybe than some semifinal games and even the Super 7 games. You just end up matching really good teams together because you're coming down to the end. And somebody like a Spain Park and a Saraland that have been undefeated and really just run through everybody, something's got to give. And last night something gave. And same with Central Clay and Montgomery Catholic. Something's got to give. Both of them are outstanding teams, but only one can win the game. And then there were some surprises where teams just, again, had great seasons, undefeated, looked like they were cruising. And so 2 number ones got beat last night. So we'll talk about that as well, Randy. But just kind of your thoughts overall as you saw them come in, then we'll get to the scores.
Well, I'll start with our local teams and stick with them for a minute. Wadley, I think they had 42 at half. They are running roughshod through everyone in Class 1A. They've got 3 unbelievable players, but I've watched some Wadley highlight film. And Brett, what they do on the lines of scrimmage and how well their other players outside of those few stars they have play and the way they play football, very, very impressed. The Reeltown Rebels in Class 2A, they got a crash course coming up with Highland Home, and we'll possibly see them as a state championship game right there. But Reeltown last night, nobody seems to be able to stop them on the offensive side of the ball. They got a tremendous quarterback that's still young, that's got a lot of more years to go, and I think he'll be one of the top baseball prospects in the country when everything ends up. But Brett, the way he throws the football around and the way that he changes the overall dynamic of Reeltown's offense that we've known for so long, which is line it up and pound you in the mouth. Now they can do a lot more than that. So it makes it very difficult to prepare for them. And I think they've got one of the best coaches in the state. I think anybody would agree with me on that. And then Central Clay just had a tough matchup in the third round last night, Brett. They matched up with what could have easily been a state championship game with Montgomery Catholic. And Montgomery Catholic found a way to put 21 points on the board. It was tough treading for both of those teams. Defenses looked like they were going to rule the day, and Montgomery Catholic able to find a couple of big plays in that football game that won it for them. Closing out the first half, that fade pattern they hit for a touchdown with about 30 seconds left in the first half was a huge play in that football game.
Well, I had somebody tell me the other day they went and covered one of Montgomery Catholic's games, and they hadn't seen them in person. And they said how fast they were, especially on defense. He said it really was mind-blowing how fast they were up close and personal. And Central Clay didn't do anything last night offensively. I mean, the first thing I saw out of the gate was the speed of Central Clay against some of the best skill guys that Central Clay's ever had. And I'm telling you, man, they hit a few plays, they busted a few plays, but for the most part, they couldn't sustain anything offensively at all. Only managed 3 points. Now, they got down inside. They had a drop pass for a touchdown that should have been caught. And then they got stopped inside the 1 yard line. You look at those two plays, Clay Central's got the football driving to win the game. It's 21-17 with them with the football instead of being down 21-3 trying to make something happen. So they score a late touchdown to try to close the gap and have an onside kick, but not scoring those 2 touchdowns when you're inside the red zone like that. And one of those, that pass that was dropped was a 4th down. That was 4th and 11. And I thought Soap Gibbons made a great throw into the end zone. And, I think he was covered a little bit. The camera didn't really show it. But according to the broadcast, he should have caught the football. And, that's the difference in playoff games, man. You make 2 or 3 plays, and the other team doesn't make 2 or 3 plays. So, again, Montgomery Catholic catches that pass going into halftime with 30 seconds, and Central Clay drops one in a crucial time, and it really ends up being the difference in these games. But kudos to both of those teams. It was a great football game. It was close at half. It was exactly what you expected out of that game. But you said it. I mean, Montgomery Catholic was able to make a couple more plays in the second half and kind of put it away.
Saraland losing that state championship game changes what I'm about to say. But Montgomery Catholic, top to bottom here in the state, they've dominated the state of Alabama like no other. Saraland's close, but they've lost that championship game, so it takes him out of that talk, really. But Montgomery Catholic, Brett, over the last really 6 years, 7 years,
right,
they've been in the hunt. But since Kirk Johnson took over, has he lost 1 or 2 football games as a head coach?
I'd have to go pull it. I want to say it's 1. I want to say I think he's lost 1 football game since he took over as head coach. Now, he was defensive coordinator for Aubrey Blackwell. And let me say this, Aubrey Blackwell really kind of got that train started for Montgomery Catholic. And then he came over and took the job here at Benjamin Russell. And then he went on to Jackson Academy and had some good years in Mississippi over there. But Juice Johnson, as they call him, really has kept that train rolling, no pun intended. And I'm telling you, man, they are. I mean, them and Jackson. Now, again, Jackson right now is showing dominance. But according to stats and looking at records right now, there's been nobody better, including Fife, than Montgomery Catholic.
No, there haven't. And the only games they've lost have been late playoff losses. I was telling my son last night, he was asking who Central Clay was playing. I said, you try to explain it by players that are in the college game that they would know. So I go, it's where Jeremiah Cobb played his high school ball. And they won just about every football game while he was there until they got 3 or 4 rounds into the playoffs, and they would win by 30, 40, 50 points every night. And they'd run up against a Montgomery Academy or somebody like that late in the playoff run that had seen them before. Fife, and lose those games. So they're still one of the top programs that we've had over the last decade. And I don't see the run ending the way that they play football, Brett. They play physical. They run to the football. I watched the majority of that football game last night, and it wasn't that Central Clay played poorly. They didn't. They played their rear ends off on the defensive side of the ball. They just couldn't.
Well,
they couldn't dial up anything offensively to match the speed and athleticism of Montgomery Catholic.
Well, you hold Montgomery Catholic to 21 points, you've given your team a chance because they normally score 40 or 50. So that just tells you. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. We're going to stay up online, YouTube, and Facebook, so you can continue to comment away, and we'll interact with you guys. But we got to go to break for TV and radio. We come back here in just a little bit with more Saturday Sports Countdown. Yeah, a lot of comments coming in.
Everything good on the TV monitor? Look okay?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay.
Looks good over there. I'll take a picture of it here in a minute.
Is my up and do I need to get that side to side view going?
You got to figure that out. I would just probably look at getting a computer, man. Yeah. Because you're gonna have to run this studio some.
Yeah.
So you just need to learn how to do it. And I can show you how to do it, but you're gonna need to get. It's just hard to do it off the phone, the full way that we do it. So, what up, guys? Everybody out there watching, we appreciate it. Comments last night. Mark said Wadley gave up 26 points at half, but half of those came against Wadley's second team defense. He said their offense is hard to stop. If everybody's watching Randy, he's not in a space shuttle. He's not trying to
Y'all are dealing with a technology deficient human being trying to figure out technology. Justin, I need you, buddy. I'm sure you're out there watching. I need you to come to Auburn.
What does he mean by did Craig get his chicken?
Did Craig get his chicken?
Yeah.
My brother?
I guess that's what he's talking about. I don't know.
He knows something about Craig. I don't know.
That's scary.
I saw Craig.
That's scary.
I was riding by CAC yesterday, and Craig was out in the yard across from CAC in some old beat-up pickup truck. I don't know where he got that one, raking up everybody's pine straw.
Yep, I saw him too.
Yeah, if you want pine straw, my brother will find his way around to you. If you need it cleaned up right now, he'll help you out. They used to give that beautification award, didn't they, for yard of the year?
Yes.
Craig Lee would win it. He'd be upset if he didn't win it every week.
Oh, the beautification award?
Yes. They need to start that back up.
Michael said, did you see what Montgomery Catholic was doing on the offensive line before they ran a few plays last night? Didn't look legal to me. Got Clay to jump off sides a couple of times in big situations.
Shifting everybody, Brett.
Yep.
So getting to the line, I guess some kind of signal call that has everyone shift down to the right. They had a big call on that touchdown drive.
They did.
They had the shift. Well, Montgomery Catholic got a penalty. Took it from 4th and 1 back to 4th and 6. Did the shift. Got it back to 4th and 1. Did the shift again later on in that drive.
Got him back. I remember watching that sequence.
It worked twice.
I was in a restaurant, so I couldn't listen to it as much. So, all right, here we go back in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Again, I want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for being our longtime partners here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Couldn't do the show without them. If you're out and about, call on JR's for all your tailgate needs, all your catering needs. If you want to just go in and hang out and watch the games on all their TVs and just let them take care of you, that's the way to go too. So make sure you take advantage of that. And then 825-4849, I've got the number memorized with Sunshine Heating and Air. Fortunately, it's not because I have to call them because my stuff breaks down all the time because Kevin Keel and his staff do such a great job. But they work on all my stuff. I know they work on all your stuff, Randy. And make sure if you have HVAC issues, some things, call on Sunshine Heating and Air, Kevin Keel and his group. Man, they've been great to us. And I talked to Kevin yesterday, and I'm telling you, man, just a great person, and glad to be associated with him. Comments coming in. We've been getting to it. Kyle said Wilkes versus Alvin Henderson would be insane in the title game if you could match Elba and Wadley up. So
I think that's what's coming down the line.
Yeah.
Two of the best backs in the state. Wilkes is being looked at more on the defensive side of the ball, Brett, but he's an amazing talent over in a community that embraces football like no other. Wadley loves their football. They always have. Brett and I are close by there in the Lake Martin region, so we know a lot of those guys. But here's the thing I've noticed, and I told you yesterday on one of our podcasts, we're talking so much on air. I can't remember when I tell you these things because we have so many different conversations. But
Right.
Elba, Brett, is playing way better on the defensive side.
Yeah, you said it on the Auburn Blitz the other day. Yep.
Yeah, second half of the season. If you remember, first half of the season, A-Train had a game where he either had 9 or 10 touchdown runs. It was a 7 overtime game. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
It was an 80-78 game.
Crazy.
All right. I mean, it was a crazy number. Elba couldn't stop anybody. But they have flipped that switch, and last night they only give up 20 points in the third round. They're giving themselves a chance because a poor outing for Alvin Henderson's 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. You've done your job if you hold him to 250 and 3 in 1A ball, and that should be able to win you a game, adding a couple of more. And Elba seems to be doing that a lot better as they close out the year.
No doubt about it. I'm excited about these next games. Let's go ahead and start, and we'll start and work our way to 7A. We don't normally do that, so we're going to give love to the lower classifications. We get that text and message a lot of times like, well, you don't ever give us, I'm like, well, okay, you're right. A lot of times we don't, so we're going to start in 1A. And Maplesville is rolling right now in 1A, okay? 42-7 over Milry. Big win for them. And then, of course, Elba, as we just mentioned, destroyed Georgiana 62-20. Wadley knocks off Berry Fayette 67-26, and Hackleburg defeats Lynn. That's the best game in 1A last night, 32-19. We've seen Hackleburg in this thing before too.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but Hackleburg from time to time puts together a really good program, a really good team. So there's your 1A scores. We're gonna do the scores first, then we're gonna go to matchups. Okay, for the fourth round. In Class 2A, it was Reeltown knocking off Cottonwood 42-20. That game was close for, I guess 2.5 quarters. It was 26-20. Reeltown, it was kind of a back and forth, and then tells you what kind of team Reeltown has to pull away from a Cottonwood team the way they did and beat them 42-20.
A great offensive team this year, maybe one of the best ones for Reeltown. I keep saying Jamarcus Smith, but watch him. We're going to talk about him nonstop over the next 2 years, and it's not only in football but in baseball. And like I said earlier in the year, you add a dynamic quarterback into what's already an amazing running football team culture. In Reeltown, you're going to get a tremendous product, and they do it probably better than anyone in our area. Reeltown's there year in and year out, Brett. They have been mine in your entire life. Jackie O'Neill built that thing up, or really took over a program that was already strong and kept it rolling, and I don't see any end in sight.
No, there is no end in sight for that program. Highland Home continues their winning ways, 13-0, no surprise. They're a team that's trying to get over the hump. They're a team that, they put 2 or 3 of these kind of years together in a row, and Reeltown's their nemesis. Will Reeltown be their nemesis again? We'll see. They knock off Ayrton 44-13. Sulligent knocks off Winston County 38-12. And here's the shocker, one of the shockers, Tuscaloosa Academy. And then if you're in the Tuscaloosa area, you may go, not a shocker to us.
No,
we got a good football team. But Pisgah was number 1 in 2A pretty much all year. And we know what kind of team Pisgah puts on the field. But Tuscaloosa Academy gets a 10-point win, 44-34.
Outstanding quarterback. We've given him the Thompson Tractor West Alabama Athlete of the Week probably 3 times this year, and that's Lancaster. Brady's 5'10", 220-pound kid, big, strong, could be playing linebacker, but throws the ball all over the park. They rack up the yards, and Tuscaloosa Academy, like a lot of private schools here in the state, they're really strong and they're growing, and kids are finding their way to their program. And you can say, well, I sure do miss the days that Central Tuscaloosa and some of these names weren't consistently in there playing for championships, but it's these smaller schools, these private schools. Watch Montgomery area. You've already talked about Montgomery Catholic and some others. They're getting the runoff and they're growing by leaps and bounds. And one over in Tuscaloosa, you take Lee Scott and Auburn. Right. They'll be in the same boat here in the next couple of years. You take Glenwood over in Phoenix City. There's enough to go around in those communities is the point I'm making, Brett. Phoenix City's back in the championship game. Auburn was number one most of the year, and their two private schools are as strong as you would ask for whenever they first move over from AISA to HSA. So I'm no surprise here for Tuscaloosa Academy to be playing the way they are.
No doubt. No doubt. We'll go ahead and take our next break here on the show for TV and radio on the Saturday Sports Countdown. We're just now getting to 3A. We're moving our way through the scores from last night. Get your comments in on YouTube and on Facebook. We'll take those as we move through, and then we'll set you up with the semifinal round matchups for classes 1A through 6A. 7A, we already know who's in the championship game, so we'll talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Any shock to all of you? One jump out to any of y'all last night?
T.R. Miller.
Spain Park was a little surprising, Brett.
They got whipped.
I didn't see that, man. I really thought that they would.
I was worried about their secondary. The only part of their team that concerned me was their secondary. I mean, their lines of scrimmage are great. I thought they had the players on offense to make plays to score points. But with KJ Lacey and being able to hit big plays, their secondary was the weak spot on that team.
Sedarian had 15 catches against them earlier in the year, didn't he?
Right, he did.
Now he was open in the middle of the field most of the night, if I remember. Like 15 for 190.
They couldn't cover him. They couldn't cover him at all.
Which most teams we play didn't have a matchup for him.
Right.
But he was open a lot more that night. And even when they double teamed him, it didn't help. So you're right. That was really the only issue that they had against us. And
that's it.
They put some points up last night. They moved the football. They just couldn't stop Saraland. KJ Lacey, I think both schools in state Alabama is going to be upset they didn't pull that one off.
Losing KJ Lacey.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Deuce Knight ends up being an All-American at Auburn.
He looks good, man.
He looks good. He better be able to transition to the college game quickly, because KJ Lacey, I feel fairly confident with the guys he's played with and the style of play that he has, Brett.
Right.
Now, he's not going to get on the field at Texas.
No.
It's going to be a while there, but
I don't know why I'd go somewhere else if I was him.
I thought he was a perfect fit for Auburn. I mean, am I missing something there? I mean, that's what we want. He's not a run first guy. Well, I mean, it's not going to work out that way, but when I watched him last year and you and I called their championship game, he's a better throwing version of Malik Willis.
Right.
Is that what you?
Right.
He doesn't want to run the football.
No, he wants to stay in the pocket and throw it, which is wild.
Boy, he throws it all over the park too. He's Bryce Young, Brett. He reminds me an awful lot of Bryce Young.
He's got
going into the college game.
Justin said no worries about KJ's size. Not really.
No. What? Look at the pro game. Look at Bryce Young. I bet you they're the imps of one another. Now I know he's not transitioned.
Yeah, Bryce Young. He's not a good pro at all.
No, he's not transitioned to be a good pro. But would you take? We'd take him every year as our college quarterback.
Oh, for sure.
That's a broken record for me and you, Brett.
Yeah.
Back to Nick Mark. Okay.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. I have to be the authoritarian here.
I like you being the boss, Brett.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Get your comments in. Again, obviously, we don't take phone calls when we're doing it podcast style, but we love to hear from you commenting on YouTube and Facebook. Again, want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and want to thank Sunshine Heating and Air. All right, now we are into Class 3A. Southside Selma knocked off Bayside Academy. I know our good friend Jason Caldwell and Christian Clemente were over there covering that game with the Smith brothers. And Southside Selma wins again, 26-24 over Bayside Academy. That's a Barrett Trotter-led Bayside Academy. And so Southside Selma gets a big win there, 26-24.
Yeah, that's a good win. Bayside's had a tremendous program for quite some time. Phil Lazenby was the one that built that thing up down at Bayside, and Barrett Trotter took it over. Southside Selma's lost a couple of times this year, but they've been up in classification when they've lost those games, Brett. They don't have Bows and Joes around the state much better than those two twin brothers that you see. So that's going to be a tough out and a very, very good win. But congratulations to Bayside on a great season, Brett. They're right there knocking on the door if they were that close to Southside last night.
Right, absolutely. All right, Houston Academy with the shocker of the night for me. Houston Academy is 12-1. But T.R. Miller has not had a close football game, and we know how good Reeltown is. That's Reeltown's only loss. I know that's up in classification for Reeltown, but they played in the Kickoff Classic Montgomery, and I believe they won that game 28-7, and it wasn't close. And Reeltown hadn't had a close one yet either since then. But when I looked down and I saw T.R. Miller had lost last night, I was blown away.
Well, another private school in an area that's got plenty of runoff going out of the public school into the private school systems. And Brett, they're building a great program. I'm not shocked because I see the superlatives come across every week. And they've got a quarterback that's going to break practically every passing record in state history. He's thrown the ball for well over 10,000 yards already. And he's an amazing athlete, can run it also. But Brett, we had one of our region athletes of the week, brought to you by the Alabama Community College System yesterday. One of their linebackers had 166 tackles going into the ball game last night. And when you see the photos come across from Houston Academy and you look and you say, well, that cat can play in up and down classification, and you look at him, that's what they've got down there. And so it's an area of growth. And that area of growth is some of these private schools that have found their way into the HSA ranks are really making a splash. And I don't see any end in sight. Houston Academy's not going anywhere either.
No, if they did that to T.R. Miller on the road, I'm telling you, man. All right, Piedmont and Fife. Piedmont wins that game 30-28 in OT. Before we go into that game, Justin said he saw Derek Smith's game-winning touchdown catch in that game against Bayside Academy. He said, guys, unbelievable, going to be great. So, I haven't seen the catch, but I'd love to.
I don't think he's a normal athlete.
No.
I think he's dynamic by all letters of that word. And you throw the football up in the air for him, he's nowhere near the height of his brother.
Right.
They are twins, but
Eric's 6'6", isn't he?
Yeah, he's 6'6". He's about $190.
Right.
Both are built real well. Both kind of have that Malcolm Simmons athletic build to them, where they're wiry but very strong looking. You like to get in the weight room, and you don't want a lot more weight on those type of guys, but they're the perfect basketball type athlete that's playing football at wide receiver, and the perfect build that you're looking for. I think his brother's a great get for us to go out there late in the process and have an opening for him. With that type of length and some of the things that he would bring to the team, I think it's a great get. But Jason Caldwell picked a good one to go to last night, didn't he?
He absolutely did. Again, great win there for Southside Selma. Going back, Piedmont remains undefeated. Fife's done. 9-3 on the season. They lose in overtime 30-28. What else can you say? This was my highlight game, one of my highlight games going into last night. These two have had unbelievable clashes in the past. This one will go down as another one of those in another chapter in that book. What's Paul Benefield going to do? I mean, we've heard some rumors that this may have been his last year. I I haven't been told that definitively, but we've just been taught. We've talked to some people in that area that said it might be his last year. And I know people are asking the same thing about Danny Horn. You know, what will Danny Horn do? Could that have been his last football game? I doubt it. I would think Coach Horn would come back, but who knows? I mean, now that they get away from the games and have a little bit of more time to process, same thing with Terry Curtis down in South Alabama and UMS Wright. I mean, all three of those teams lost last night, and those are the top three winningest coaches in state history. And all three are, I mean, let's be honest, right here toward the end of their careers, whatever that might be. If it's they coached their last game last night, or they're going to come back for another year, or whatever. But you got three historic coaches right here with a decision. It's probably going to be year to year. You know, Coach Curtis told me, Randy, when I went down earlier a few weeks ago, he said, I'm on a year-to-year contract, Brett. He said, if I wake up and I still love what I'm doing, I'm going to come to work. But if I wake up one day and I don't want to do this anymore, I'm going to step aside and let somebody else do it. So it really, at this point, is up to them, you know, when they want to step aside.
Isn't it great? I mean, three amazing individuals coming down to the end of their career, but the relationships that you've been able to build with those men. I know we don't know Coach Benefield quite as well, but we've been around Coach Horn for a very long time in Elliott City. And Terry Curtis I've known since I was friends with his son Casey down at Auburn, and I've always been very impressed with the product that he puts out there on the field, no matter whether he was at Murphy or UMS Wright or wherever he's been down in South Alabama. And he's a great guy. So, Brett, you've got more insight than anybody else. You're traveling the state and talking to these folks way more than anybody else. I think you'll know before anybody else does. And it's going to be an upsetting time for a lot of these communities when those guys hang it up, because they've been the community. They've been the talk of the community for some of these, like Terry Curtis, for 25, 30 years in that community. And it's a difficult transition. It'll be next to impossible to back them up and do anywhere near as well as they have.
Yeah, I try to get info out of them, and they're tight-lipped, man. I try to do everything I can to weave in and get them to say something. But when the time's right, they'll make that call. And you know, you're right. I mean, what we're doing is we're getting to witness in real time three of the best that's ever done it in our state's history, and they're all doing it right now. They've already done it. I mean, they've got phenomenal careers, and they're all here at the end of their career, whatever that means. I'm not saying all three are walking away tomorrow. I'm saying that they're on a 1 year to 1 year basis in their mind right now on how much longer they want to do this, because they've been doing it their entire lives. I mean, Terry Curtis has been coaching 52 years. I mean, I want everybody to let that sink in a little bit. And so that's a long time. I mean, Coach Horn, he's been doing this a long time. So is Paul Benefield, and Coach Horn still holds that lead in the. It's kind of like a little rat race now between those three guys, and every time one of them wins, that I know they don't think about that really, but we're all watching those win totals, and
they're competitive guys. I bet you they do.
Yeah,
they may not say they do, but and you, all of them are very humble people, so I'm not saying that, but I like to talk reality here, and I'll talk about the one I know very well, and that's Danny Horn. And that's as competitive a human being underneath, that really calm most of the time outside of actually coaching a football game and practicing at times. He's as competitive as anybody. I think his son is too, Chase. And what a great family, man. We watched Bryant. You wouldn't get anything out of Bryant until the competition started heating up, and buddy, he had it in there as tough as anybody we've had come through Elliott City. So I wish them all the best. I hope that this isn't the last year. I'd love to cover them a long time more.
All right, we're up against another break. Everybody stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Holding up nice.
Oh, yeah. Don't jinx it. All right. Kyle said, I can't remember his name, but I'm sure y'all who I'm talking about, the Booker T. Washington wide receiver and Sedarian would be an incredible 26 wide receiver haul for Auburn. I'd have to.
I don't remember the Booker T.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know, Kyle. I'd have to pull that. Yeah, Sedarian. I just saw. I think it was On3 updated their rankings. He's moved up to the number 2 receiver in the country on On3. He was like 4 or 5, and now he's number 2.
Yeah.
I think he's number 1 on 24/7. So,
boy, he's a freak show. He had a dunk for all of you tuning in. He had a dunk this week at Childersburg. He's about 3 or 4 steps inside the free throw line.
It's unbelievable.
If you want to see athleticism, go to a basketball game, and man, he's amazing. And Brett and I think a lot of him too. I love the way he goes about his business. We've been lucky with that, Brett. You think back to Malcolm, man. You have that much talent. You got everyone looking at you at a small community like Ellick City. And, in Childersburg the other night, they were harassing him from the start of that game to the end. Overrated. They chanted the whole time.
Isn't that nice when you go? I mean, when everybody hates you because you're the best. Yeah, you're gonna get that kind of stuff every night.
Well, you have to be able to embrace it, and you also have to be, I say, grown enough to know not to
mature
attack that. Yeah, it's you've got to have been put through some situations to not handle that in a poor. And he didn't. He didn't the other night. We've seen him all year, even when the ball didn't go to him. You didn't see him sulk and not want to play. When we put him on the defensive side of the ball, I thought he even played better. The more opportunities he got to be out there on the field.
He's a wonderful kid.
No, I really think a lot of him, and I've said the same about Malcolm. I mean, Malcolm was just a great teammate. Still shows back up. Every Friday he's got a chance. He's on the sideline in some kind of maroon gear. So lucky to get kids like that through your program.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of them. We've been very blessed to get, and we still got more coming through. I mean, the ceiling's so high on Caleb Spivey, man, on what that kid's going to do. Yeah. He still looks like he's 12 in the face. But when he puts that helmet on, he runs by you in warm-ups. You're like, good Lord, who is that? And, I mean, he looks like a SEC defensive lineman already, physically. And, man, he's just a sophomore. So, we're going to
I can't see who's on there, but I bet G's on there. And so it's his family.
Right.
Jerome was asking me this summer, G, hey, buddy, if you're out there.
15 seconds. Okay.
If I thought he was the real deal, I said, gee, he looks so much different than you did at that age. Like, he is 235 at 15 years old.
3 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, moving our way through hour number 1 here on the program. We're just kind of talking in the break about some of the kids. Some of the Kyle had a comment about the kid at Booker T. Washington, and he was talking about Sedarian Morgan at Benjamin Russell being a great duo to come to Auburn if Auburn could land both of those guys. And we were just talking about the quality of the kid. We weren't talking about what they're able to do on the field. That's obvious. But just knowing Sedarian, what you get in a player like him, you're going to get an unbelievable athlete, but you're going to get a great person that you're going to add to your team.
Well, he got a Colorado offer this week. We saw how excited he was for that. Juju going to Colorado to play for Deion. I think that they've got themselves in the mix. And I said it earlier. Somebody asked me, actually sent me a personal message wanting to know if I had any take on where Sedarian was going. I said no. I said he's going to get every offer that's out there. The only ones that won't offer are the ones that don't think they stand a chance. And he's such a good kid that I do think he's smart enough to look around and see if the style of offense is going to match up to his, and if the quarterback is going to be good enough to display the talents that he has. And I think he'll pick according to that. I don't think he'll get swayed one way or another. He's not one of those kids that kind of waver. I'm glad we get to see him every Friday. I'll tell you that. He's a wonderful young man.
He is a wonderful guy, and again, we get to see him next year again. Looking forward to it. All right, let's move into Class 4A as we rock along right here in hour number 1. St. Michael Catholic, again, only been around since 2017. Had the honor of going down and talking to Coach Rivers a few weeks ago with his team as they took on UMS Wright in that last regular season game of the year. And St. Michael knocks off Fairfield. They travel to Fairfield and beat them 42-25. This team just scores a boatload of points. Gunnar Rivers, the sophomore quarterback, is his son. He is the imps of Phillip Rivers, actually a little bit more athletic, and that's what we kidded about. I told Coach, I said, the only thing about your son is he can run a little bit better than you. And he said, there's no question about it. He's not even going to argue about it. So, but you look at what Phillip Rivers went on to do in the pros and threw for over 60,000 yards and broke every San Diego Chargers record. I know they're not in San Diego anymore, but when he played, they were in San Diego. That was a sore subject with him, by the way. He said, why in the world did they move our franchise out of San Diego to L.A.? He said, how many teams do they need in L.A.? But he's leading this team. So a lot of people haven't even heard of them. And here they are in the semifinals of 4A, Randy. I don't know if they'll get over the hump this year because somebody's got to go through Jackson. But they're going to get there. I think within the next 2 years, they'll win a state title in 4A if everything kind of stays consistent.
Well, they will, and there's no end in sight. Why? Because Phillip Rivers has got 38 kids, and they're going to keep coming through the program. And all the boys are going to be the quarterbacks as they come through. And if there's some girls in the mix, they're going to be Barker-esque girls coming through the University of Alabama or somewhere like that. That's how, good I feel like that program sitting where it is going to be led by Phillip Rivers. You were very impressed with the facilities down there. Had a good opportunity to watch that. And it's nice having you go around the state, Brett. I'm gonna tout your efforts here. There's places that you're seeing and people that you're talking to that I don't have a good feel for. I don't know Phillip Rivers from Adam's house rat. But when you walk into his building and he seems as humble as he does and as welcoming as he was for you to come in and check out what they're doing, I don't know about the rest of the state. It means a lot to me. And it does mean a lot to the rest of the state. I'll say this, that someone like him would choose this state to come back and live in and coach in and build product and build team in, because you'll know if you're down in the southern part of the state, if they play for him, they're going to be playing for somebody that you want your young man around day in and day out. So I'm very happy we got him. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I kind of, I kid with Lauren. We're going all these places. She don't know any of these guys, and she does a great job. All she cares about is where we're going to stop for our local yokel place to eat, so she can talk about that. We have a good time. I said, "You do realize who that is?" She goes, "No." I said, "That's pretty much the one of the best quarterbacks to ever come through the San Diego Chargers franchise." And I said, I can't remember how many Pro Bowls I said he'd been to and all that. She's like,
I think 10.
Yeah. I said, just a bunch. I said, he's a Hall of Famer in my mind. So,
Lauren asked me this week, y'all went over to interview Patrick Nix. She said, "Is that Bo Nix's daddy?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, clearly you don't know who the heck Patrick Nix is. He probably got two of the biggest plays in Auburn history as a quarterback. And
no doubt.
Now he, to that generation, is that Bo Nix's daddy.
As I sit there, I'll have to just admit the young Brett, as I sit there and I talk to these guys now, it's a professional deal, and we don't even get into that, but I flash back just for a second and I go to that play, and as Faith was interviewing Coach Nix, I'm standing behind the camera going, I remember the throw in the end zone to Frank Sanders, man, and then twice. I mean, he makes the one in the Iron Bowl to Frank Sanders, and then he did it again down in Florida the next year. I mean, it's like this guy is. You're right. I mean, you have to kind of tune that out a little bit, and you want to run it back up.
Well, I thought it was funny. Is that Bo Nix's daddy? And this generation, it is. To us, it's no. That's Pat Nix.
That's Bo. Yeah. Bo, exactly.
Is Pat Nix your daddy? I mean, that's what it is to us. A little bit different.
I'd be like, exactly. So, but anyway, fun stuff, and it is a good time going around the state. I need to find out where we're going. I need to find out where we're going this week. I believe we're going to Oxford.
That'd be great.
So we'll get to that here in just a minute. All right, moving on here, Jackson. All over Tallahassee, 41-10. But tip of the hat to L.A. O'Neill and Tallahassee, man. What a great season. Get to the quarterfinals. Last year, they won one football game. I know a lot of people in Tallahassee, man, they have been excited this year. They knew what they were going into, going to Jackson. Hey, but they played them well for half. I'll give them that. I mean, it was like 26 to – I don't remember what it was, but I was like, you know what? They're holding their own. I think it was 26 to 10. So they did a really good job, and I thought at the end of the day, this is just the start of what's going to happen at Tallahassee under L.A. O'Neill.
What a great area for football, if he does, because Reeltown's not going anywhere. That program's built. And Tallahassee has had their ups and downs. Tallahassee's a lot like Benjamin Russell. They've had some really strong years where your good friend John Mask has been over there and calling offensive plays, and they've had 10+ win seasons, and then they'll go down. You'll look and they don't win but 2 or 3 games for a couple of years. But I think LA will put a consistent winner out there on the field in a community that loves high school sports, all up and down, girls, boys. You want to go move to a community that is obsessed with sports. It's always been Tallahassee, hasn't it, Brett?
It has. Just always a phenomenal sports community, and it's always fun to cover them. All right, we got to get to break, but Justin said, I think Brett needs to go to more places around the state. He's got too much free time. Yeah, thank you, Justin. Yeah, I know that's tongue-in-cheek. I'll get you later, okay?
Well, I'm cheering for you, Justin.
All this free time, man, all this free time.
Get that poor guy out of one conference call after another, and he would embrace that too. I promise he'd rather interview Pat Nix than be in some of these board meetings that he's in.
Yeah, nobody wants to walk in my shoes, I can promise you. So, all right, we'll go to break here. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. Russ is communicating great with me too. He's telling me like this one needs to be 318, this one needs to be 331. So that's great.
Okay, great.
It's working out great.
You just stay right there in the seat you're in, buddy. I've gotten used to sitting over here as the second hand.
The old pilot.
We're doing it a lot. Hey, the good part of going live on podcast every morning, after a while, it gives you an opportunity to have all your thoughts straight. Some of the podcasts that I really enjoy, Joe Rogan being the best. So I mean, he's the easiest one, but they don't always have a perfect thought together, but they just kind of talk their way through it.
Well, I think that's what brings people in. And I mean, everybody, I love talking to everybody. Like, Tony's talking about last night, with basketball with Stanhope knocking off Prattville.
103 points.
102, 102.79. He said Terrence Collins had 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
Well, Austin Munkus, who's the coach, wants to play that up-tempo brand of basketball. He's got to have the guys to do it, Brett. But he wants to run you. He wants to press you. He wants to speed you up. He wants to knock down threes from the corner. He wants to sideline break you. He's got a little of that old-school Iola sideline break going where they'll quickly get it to the corner and get a 3-point shot jacked up. And when they're going to score 100. Look, I'd rather lose. I say this all the time because I coach a lot of youth basketball. But I'd rather – Jeff Hines used to say this, Brett, so I appreciated Jeff saying this. If you got athletes like that, let them go.
Right.
Let them play. I mean, they want to get out there. Well, they want to run. They want to gun it. They want to.
You don't want to keep somebody pinned up. You don't want to keep your athletes pinned up, man.
I'd rather lose than go into a zone. I'd just rather get beat. I really would. If I couldn't press and put pressure on, I'd much rather just lose every ball game. I hate the sport when it's played that way. And we're lucky here in this state that no true winning program does that anymore. And as the shot clock era comes in, Brett, nobody will be able to do it.
Right.
Because you won't compete with the ones that do.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Tony said only 2 seniors on this Stanhope roster. The rest are freshmen and sophomores. He said,
who's the last? I want to ask you, who's the last semifinal or final game that played a slow down version of basketball?
Who was that that held the basketball? I think it was a girls' game. They scored and literally just held the. Now that really isn't.
I hate it.
But they held the ball because the reason they did it was because they had somebody injured. And they were like, the only way we're going to be able to compete in this game is so they were a run and gun type team, but they had to change their style to stay in the game. So good morning. How are you? No, we're about to go back. So, all right, here we go. Brindley's sitting there morning. Good morning.
Hey, Brindley.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Last segment here in hour number one. And, again, this thing has flown by. We ain't even gotten through all the scores yet. We got to get to the matchups, man. And we still got college to talk about. So get your comments in, YouTube and Facebook. Now, let me flash this back up here just to remind everybody on TV as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please go out there and subscribe. We want to see those numbers go up. Share our content. If you like it, go subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, obviously, for all of you that know about YouTube. Make sure you go out there and subscribe to the Auburn Blitz YouTube channel. All right, moving on through. We hadn't finished 4A yet. Cherokee County knocked off Brooks 21-14. And West Morgan's undefeated, 13-0, destroyed Anniston, 50-20 last night. So that wrapped up 4A. Any thoughts?
Great
there?
Running back, one of our athletes of the week, Alabama Community College System Region Athlete of the Week, running back over there at West Morgan. I love getting all of these superlatives coming across because when you bring up these schools, I feel like I know them. I feel like I know why. Whereas in the past, when I wasn't receiving these and naming these athletes of the week, if you saw West Morgan pop up, you wouldn't have any earthly idea why or why is that program in the mix now. And we do. And I'll take that opportunity, Brett, to say, find our AHSA Radio Network social media outlet. If you've got players in your community that we need to spotlight, send them over to me. I had 4 or 5 of the ones that I named this week I didn't get from the state. Either a coach, an administrator, or a parent sent me numbers over. And
let me say this, cut you off real quick. You've done so much posting over the last 6 to 8 months and really grown our AHSA Radio Network outlet. I know I'm kind of all over the state physically, but you're like nestled in for hours every day. And that's why you know these kids so well. Mm-hmm. But we have established through what you're doing on our social outlets these connections and how many people are coming to. I'm not bragging, but I am a little bit. We're the source. People come to us because we're the ones spreading the word and we're pushing these kids out there in these schools. And I'm not saying anything about any other outlet, but I'll tout Average Joe's as well. Our good friend Bo Starkey. They do as good a job as anybody, and we work hand in hand with him. So I'm definitely not talking about that. I'm talking about some of these others that claim to be, and we get the attention from the parents and the administration because of the results, and it's only because of that, and we love it. That's what we're in it for. That's why we do it, and that's why you post, and our sponsors see the worth of that, man, because these things get thousands and thousands of views and shares. And why would you not want to be part of our Player of the Week program? And the outlet has grown tremendously on Facebook and Twitter, and we want to keep those numbers going up.
Going through, but we need to hear from you. Send them to us because not every school reports. Every school puts their stats up. And I had to mention this week, like, why does X about a kid that I don't know?
Yeah. So you froze up a little bit on us, but that's all right. Keep sending the information to us, and Randy will make sure it gets covered. I promise. You just got to send us the information. All right, let's get into some more scores. We'll go into 5A. We just talked about this to start the show. Montgomery Catholic knocked off Central Clay 21-9. We kind of went in depth in that game, so we won't really go back into depth on that one, Randy. But it was a big win. Montgomery Catholic continues to roll. Viger 41-10 over UMS Wright. Not surprised by that. UMS Wright, what a great job just to get to the quarterfinals this year. Just looking at it from that standpoint, Viger with a big win there, 41-10 over UMS Wright. That ends Terry Curtis's season. I think we lost Randy there, so we'll try to get him back. Moody over Ramsey, 49-7. Moody knocks off Ramsey. Again, this is a great Moody team. Wonderful Moody team that continues to just dominate opponents. And, I talked to Coach Gaines at the about 5 or 6 weeks ago and was asking him about why they scheduled the schedule that they did, going to Gainesville, Georgia, playing Oxford. He said, look, because I want to get in the playoffs and I want our team to have experienced everything that they possibly can experience and not be surprised and be prepared. And, playing these tough teams will prepare them for the playoffs. And obviously it's working. So I'm going to add Randy back on in here as we get back. Good to see you, Randy. I looked up, you were gone. So,
hey, technical issues. You're going to have it on my gravestone, buddy. Technical issues or audio issues, Justin Clayton. We'll be right there at the top of it. Y'all got to help me out, but glad to be back. I heard you talking during the break. We did talk a lot about Central Clay and their loss last night, but Kirk Johnson, what a tremendous job they've done building that program at Montgomery Catholic. But I watched a lot of that one, and no need to hang your head if you're a Central Clay fan. They played as hard as you possibly could, just couldn't find enough offense to win the ball game.
Yeah, and when you came back in, I was talking about Moody over Ramsey, 49-7. I talked to Coach Gaines several weeks ago when I went over there, and I was talking to him about the schedule. Why in the world would he schedule Gainesville, Georgia, and Oxford and Auburn? They didn't play Auburn. It got canceled because of the hurricane, but, he was going to play Auburn. I mean, this is a 5A playing the best team pretty much all year in 7A. He said, look, I want my team to have played the best of the best before we get to the playoffs. I want them to know what it takes to win, and I don't want them to go in and think they see anybody better in the playoffs than they've already seen during the regular season. It's working, man, because you beat Ramsey 49-7. You've done something, man. So I know we've talked about Catholic and Clay County and Vicar, but you better watch out for Moody out of the north, man.
Great quarterback, big gunslinger. Brett, you standing beside him.
Oh, I look like a shrimp.
You did. He's all of 6'5", big mobile quarterback that can get it done. Another one of our athletes of the week this past week. Impossible. Some of these guys get it multiple times, Brett. It's like the Tuscaloosa Academy kid.
They deserve it. They deserve it.
When you put up numbers like they do, you have to keep recognizing them. And Johnston over there at Moody's, a tremendous talent. And I think Gaines is building a program that's not going anywhere either at Moody.
All right, two teams that really in our area haven't gotten a lot of press, but man, they've been impressive. Leeds knocked off Corner last night, 57-36. So Leeds moves on, all the way back to the Keith Etheridge days at Leeds, where they won multiple state championships. They're back in the hunt again there in Class 5A. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll get to matchups here again in just a second. We're probably going to have to get to the top of the hour break before we do that. But I'll finish these scores here so we can do that when we come back in the second hour. Class 6A Pike Road. Did they play baseball down there last night? They won 11-8 over Hueytown. If I remember correctly, I think Hueytown was up 8-0 in that game. And just a weird score that you don't see anymore. But Pike Road wins over Hueytown 11-8.
They deserve a ton of credit. Stop me as we get to the break. But Granger Shook had lost, I think, 3 of the first 5 games this year, and they've reeled off consecutive wins since then. Make it back to the semifinals, Brett. They were there last year, back in it again this year. Very impressive.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll run down these final scores in 6A and 7A and set your matchups for the semifinal round and the championship round in 7A. Stay tuned. Second hour of the Saturday Sports Countdown coming up right after this.
I don't know why I went down, man.
Yeah, it started pixelating there, and then it just went. So I was like, well, keep this
How'd it do it?
Yeah, it just went. You just never know, man. The good thing is you can just come right back to that link and go right back in. So
yeah, that was easy.
Yep.
All right, you got the end of 6A and then 7A, and then we'll roll into some college talk.
Roll into the matchups first and then to the college. That Oxford-Fort Payne game was good, wasn't it?
Last 2 games for Fort Payne. Again, quarterback play, Brett.
Oxford's got a good one, man.
Both of them do.
Yeah, Marte just raves over their quarterback.
God, these guys are big too.
They're big old. Like Gabe Benton.
Yeah, that
big
size,
old dudes,
yeah.
man.
Mims is, I think, 6'5".
Yep. Is he a sophomore?
No, I think he's a senior.
Which one? Mims is?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, you better watch out for Parker, man. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, they got him. Yeah, you got any feel on
That's
offense?
That's a good point, Russ. He can hear me during the breaks, obviously, because he's pulling the stream in. So if there's anything we ever need to tell him, that's good, man. This thing's getting better and better, bro.
Yeah, if I keep my internet connection up.
Yeah, if you don't get in the space capsule and go upside down and buffer out, we'll be all right.
I got all new gear coming in next week.
Did you order?
Lighting and mics and floor mics, and I feel good about it. I'll look a little better and hopefully sound a little better.
I love my setup right here. I'm gonna take it eventually downstairs to the game room.
Yeah.
I've got the light and all set up. I just wasn't ready this morning. So
the audio's good up where you are, though.
Oh yeah, this mic is stupid. It's got other settings on here I could fool with, but I'm just not gonna fool with them right now.
You just don't.
Not right now.
Hey, you pulled some things off over the years, Brett.
We made it work. Shades Valley's the top of the.
I think that set a little bit of a buzz up, whatever you hit there. Yeah, turn that off. Now you're off.
Now I'm back. So now you're hearing the ice machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that buzz you hear is the ice machine.
Well, that is clear then. If I'm hearing the ice machine,
No, you're hearing the ice machine because I can hear it just a little bit when it comes.
I'm just glad my dog hasn't shown up to be part of the broadcast today. I've got the doors closed.
Is he gonna bark?
I heard yours the other day. One time,
right?
Somehow you gave him a look and he shut it.
No,
down.
I didn't give him a look. I muted the mic and then I went and I did something. I can't remember. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Hour number 2 of the show, and we're going to finish up with these scores. I don't think it's ever taken us this long to get through the scores, but we've had a lot of takes on all these games and people commenting, so that's great. All right, in 6A, we just talked about the Pike Road Hueytown game. Pike Road wins that one 11-8. Saraland over Spain Park. Both of those teams were undefeated. Saraland knocked off Spain Park 45-19. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. A little surprising, but Saraland with their offense being able to take the top off defenses, and that was the one weak spot that we saw with Spain Park was their secondary. Really showed its head in this game.
Well, Saraland's been the class of that classification for quite some time. It took Jalen Mbakwe and an amazing outing by him and that Clay Chalkville team to get over the hump against them last year, Brett. But Jeff Kelly wins like no other in the top one of the top classifications in the state. And it's the reason the state's chosen him as the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star coach this year coming up. And we're going to put a great team out there. But Saraland's, they're amazing. They've got a great quarterback. I don't think Gill out at receiver was one of our athletes of the week this week. He's got offers all over the country. Diminutive little receiver, maybe 5'8", 150 pounds, Brett, but massive numbers all season. I wouldn't want to play him.
No.
And they're going to be back in it again. So Saraland, great program, one of our best here in the state of Alabama.
Oxford has really had a phenomenal season. 13-0 over Spain over Fort Payne last night, 28-26. Fort Payne. Great program, great season for them. What a great football game between these two programs. You know, we've got a good friend on the coaching staff at Oxford, Marte Wyckoff, and he's got a 1,000-yard rusher. He coaches running backs. He's got a 1,000-yard rusher. They got a phenomenal quarterback. They find ways to win close games. That's the thing I've noticed about Oxford. They've had some close ones, but they find ways to win them.
Well, they got a great quarterback in Mims, and it took them having that great quarterback to knock off Fort Payne. Fort Payne kicks the ball. Their special teams has always been one of the best in the state, but they've had a quarterback in Varnador that could start for just about anybody out there. So took that, another great game. Fort Payne wins a close one last week against Homewood. Can't get over the hump this week. What a season for them, though, Brett. That's not a program that consistently is making it championship games. It tells you what type of product they're putting out there on the field.
And then finally, Parker knocked off Muscle Shoals 35-10. If you hold Muscle Shoals to 10 points, you've done something. But everybody watched at the beginning of the season and starred Parker. They said, watch out. They have the most talent on a team of anybody in 6A. And the lone loss came to Carrollton, Georgia, with Juju Lewis and that group over there. They're going to be a tough out. I know there's only one game left before the championship, so they're going to have to play that Oxford team. But that's going to be a good football game between those two, and we're going to get to matchups here in just a second. And finally, last night, Thompson knocked off Enterprise 31-7. They're playing outstanding football right now. They're playing as good as anybody in the state. That's not good news for Phoenix City. Phoenix City won 17-7 over a good Hoover team. Mm-hmm. Right now, Thompson looks like they're hitting their stride at the right time.
Well, two great teams that are used to playing one another. Defensive-minded team, as you see last night for Central Phoenix City after Hoover scored 32 points the week before. Now, I know it took 3 overtimes to score those 32 points against Opelika, but they did put a 30 spot up on Opelika and then to only get 7 against Phoenix City. You keep saying that. Watch out for both of these teams, and you were dead on. They're back, and they're back playing one another. And Trent Seaborn is playing as good as anybody in the state of Alabama right now at Thompson, not only throwing the football, but with his legs. He had a 73-yard rush midway through the second half against Auburn last week. That was one of the biggest plays in the game. So he just keeps getting better, and he's going to be a 5-year starter there at Thompson, and it looks like they have a chance to play another championship game. And what a run it would be for him to make it to a championship game all 5 of those years. But he's playing as good as anybody right now, Brett, and that's a scary part of Thompson's when they get Mark Freeman calling plays and Trent Seaborn going offensively.
It's going to be unbelievable, man, to see that. That's going to be, hey, look, a rematch. And, hey, look, they're the best 2 programs right now in the state until somebody – knocks them off. I know Auburn had a heck of a year, and that was tough for them to lose to Thompson. But at the end of the day, until somebody knocks Thompson out, until somebody knocks Phoenix City out, they're the class of 7A. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. All right, here's your matchups for semifinals 1A through 6A. In Class 1A, it's Elba at Maplesville. That's a matchup of 2-11 and 2 teams. Hackleburg will travel to Wadley. Hackleburg's 12-1. They'll travel all the way down here to take on Wadley at 11-0. Probably won't be a good trip for them.
But it'll be a tough one. Hackleburg plays physical football, and I think you and I called a state championship game with them maybe a decade ago. So they've got a chance. Wadley, when you look down, you're playing somebody that's 12-1. They're doing something right throughout the year. So it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one if you're in our local community to find that game. That one or Reeltown next week.
Highland home at Reeltown, 13-0 versus 12-1 Reeltown. This has been one for the ages here in the last couple of years. They've been in each other's region. Reeltown's been able to get the better of them every time. I remember them going over to Highland home and going for 2 and beating them 8-7 in a game. And, that's the kind of games they have. This is going to be another war to get back to Birmingham. This could easily be your championship game here. I'm not, again, writing off Tuscaloosa Academy. They've got a Sulligent team coming to them next week. But, man, I'm telling you, if I had my marbles on the table, it'd be one of those 2 teams that's going to be playing right down the road from where you and I are right now in Reeltown. If you're in the 5-county area of this game, you want to see good quality high school football, you need to find a way to get into Reeltown Stadium next Friday night. You will not be disappointed, I promise you.
Well, you better be trying to get a ticket today. It'll be packed. That community is obsessed with football. There's some out there that say they love football, and then you and I know the products that are obsessed with football, and they've got good reason to be. That's a football culture over there with a youth program that is second to none in our local market, Brett. They've held that thing together, and it leads right into the high school ranks. And I can't brag enough about Reeltown and what the product they put out there on the football field is.
Sullivan at Tuscaloosa Academy, and then in 3A you got Southside Selma at Houston Academy, Piedmont at Mars Hill. Man, what a great matchup that's going to be. In 4A, St. Michael will go to Jackson. Ooh, man, it's going to be a good football game. Jackson will get challenged a little bit in that one. West Morgan, undefeated, will go to Cherokee County at 12-1. In 5A, Viger will go to Montgomery Catholic. What a game that one will be. Viger going to Montgomery Catholic.
You talk about defensive-minded game. You told me a stat this week that was shocking. Viger in today's football only giving up 6 points a game.
Right.
Isn't that the stat?
That's right.
We've been doing this. I think this will be our 18th or 19th year calling state championship games. One of the first was a Joustin Fowler-led Viger team. And I knew when I went out and watched them warm up that this one wasn't going to be close. That's how good athletically they looked out on the field.
Right.
When they get everything rolling, you don't want to play Viger. And they got it all rolling right now.
Get through the rest of these, and we'll get to our next break. Leeds at Moody, going to be a good football game there. In Class 6A, Saraland will go to Pike Road. Oxford will have to go to Parker. That game will be at Legion Field. And then, of course, the 7A championship is set. Phoenix City will take on Thompson in a couple weeks on that Wednesday game to start the Super 7. All right, we're going to take our next break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Good for Pike Road.
Getting
Saraland at home.
Oh,
They had to go down there in that nightmare last year.
It ain't going to matter, though.
Yeah. Probably not.
I don't think so. I mean, I may be wrong. But look, you always rather have them at home. I mean,
Have you been over to Pike Road?
I haven't been over there.
You need to get over there.
Yeah.
Now, but you were really impressed with him when you talked to him at
Granger, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know him. Yeah, I've not been around him.
I
interviewed
him at the coaches convention. Montgomery, just well put together, just very nice, and wants to market the program. I mean, he's one of the first guys to share and like all our stuff on.
I see that
on Facebook. Man, he's involved, dude. I mean,
look, we appreciate that.
Heck yeah, man. I mean,
we know how important in today's football it is for you to market your program. Because if you're not, others are, and kids want and almost need that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you're not doing a good job of taking the talent you got and getting them to the next level, if that's what they want to do, then I feel like that's an important part of your job, Brett.
Right.
You should be doing that. Some do it better than others, but
you're right.
It makes a difference. It really does in all the sports.
I just watched Derek Smith make a catch over here. Good Lord.
He's an athlete's athlete.
That guy's good, man.
We got a good quarterback. I know you're about to talk about that, but
heck yeah.
You can get all these receivers you want.
We're going to get one.
They're going to buy one.
That's what I'm saying. Go get one, dude. Should have done it this year. I mean, should have gotten Cam Ward this year. I'm going to say that until I go to the grave. I mean, ridiculous. Had it at your fingertips. Could have looked like a genius. Could have gone, man, look at this. I mean, instead, you just would rather make life extremely difficult on yourself and everybody else. I mean, I don't understand why you just, hey, you want this gold bar? Nah, it's all right. I think I'll like to stay poor over here.
Oh, man, Brett.
Jesus. I mean,
Blowtorch.
Help us.
Is Wade on there?
I hadn't seen Wade this morning.
Brett Blowtorch Pritchard.
He needs to be.
I got to get a logo, buddy. You had one Wednesday. That was one of your better programs. You woke up on one Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I did. Pissed. I heard it from a lot of people too. I had a wow on there as a comment. I guess I shocked some people.
Well, they've seen the tamed version of you.
Right. All right, here we go.
These podcasts. Okay.
5 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. Justin said blowtorch and T-bone. Well, that's a heck of a damn combination, isn't it? Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. I got 45 minutes left in the show today, and we appreciate everybody that tunes us in each and every week here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Can't thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air enough for their partnership. Been here with us almost 20 years, and couldn't do it without them. All right, Randy, let's dive into college. We got 45 minutes of it. And let's talk about the SEC games first. I'll just go through them today. Obviously, Texas A&M and Auburn will get together at 6:30. Alabama will travel to Oklahoma, and that game also kicks off at 6:30. But you got Ole Miss at Florida. That game will be at 11 o'clock here in just a little bit. UMass will go to Georgia. Nobody cares at 11:45. UTEP goes to Tennessee. Nobody cares about that one either. That will be at noon. Kentucky goes to Texas. Probably nobody cares about that one either. But Texas, they'll let Kentucky hang around a little while. It's just in their nature. Wofford at South Carolina. Again, another nobody cares. Louisiana Tech at Arkansas. And Missouri at Mississippi State. That could be interesting. Mississippi State scores a lot of points. Missouri's kind of limping around a little bit right now. So we'll see how that one goes. And then Vanderbilt goes to LSU. Can Vanderbilt go down there and beat them at 6:45 tonight?
I don't think so. But
Garrett Nussmeier's terrible.
Yeah, LSU, they could do the same as they did against Auburn. I don't think they're going to go down there and score 40 points in Baton Rouge. I don't believe that. But could they go down there and hold LSU to 7 to 20 points, the same as they did against Auburn, holding us to 7 points? I guess. That's a hot seat already down there in LSU. Losing the big time number one recruit in the country to Michigan is a massive buzz going on in the country there, and it just has an odd feel going on at LSU right now. And trust me, we understand odd feels and loss of identity and who the heck are you and what do you want to be? Auburn and LSU remind me a lot of each other right now.
Right. There's only a couple games difference between their records.
Yeah.
I mean, LSU 6-4, we're 4-6. I mean, really, it's a flip of a coin either way. And we all know, and again, I'm not sitting here sounding like a Homer Auburn fan, because I haven't been, but easily if you play half a offense in any of those games, you got 7 wins. You're 7-3 right now. The Cal game, Missouri game, and Oklahoma game were total duds. Complete and total duds. And you add those three. Auburn should be 7-3 at worst right now, but they're not. So we move on. You look at the lineup of games in the SEC. Really, the Ole Miss Florida game can kind of be a little intriguing because Florida is playing better right now. So, and that's at the Swamp. They're 5-5. Ole Miss is a 13-point favorite in that game. So DJ Lagway is a little bit of a difference maker for Florida. And Billy Napier, he's been able to get a couple big wins this year to take the heat off of him a little bit. And maybe he should have been playing DJ Lagway the whole time. And maybe they wouldn't be 5-5 right now. But anyway, they're playing better football. And Ole Miss seems to be playing as good as anybody in this conference. Let's see what they do. Early kickoff this morning going on the road to the Swamp.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get with Ole Miss right now. When they're at their best, they can be an SEC championship contender. When they're not, it's Lane Kiffin. That guy can coach them up as well as anybody, but he can also lay an egg as well as anybody. So I don't know what we'll get. I do feel that Napier's got this Florida program at least riding the ship. It may not be fully recovered yet, but I don't watch them and go, they're about to get run out of the gym anymore. And it does have a lot to do with the quarterback play. And and Florida's stayed consistent with, they're going to stay with Napier and allow him to have a chance to build this program back up to what they expect. And Hopefully, if you're a Florida fan, he can. I still have my doubts, but Ole Miss could easily lose this football game. I'll say that if Florida can do enough offensively to probably, they're probably going to need to get to 30 points, but
Right.
they've been able to do it here lately.
You better watch out. I mean, that could be a game that, boy, you talk about wiping out Ole Miss's dreams. To go to Florida and lose that game, that would be devastating, and they would be out for sure if they lose that one. All right, around the country, the one everybody's going to watch immediately this morning at 11 o'clock is Indiana and Ohio State. Indiana, all the buzz about the college football playoff rankings, should they even be where they are right now? They haven't played anybody. Let's be honest about it. This is a game they got to go into the horseshoe. If they win that game, they deserve to be up there in the mix. But this will by far ain't even close to their biggest test of the season. And if they fail this test, and if they fail it by 14 to 20 points, I think they ought to be out of the playoffs.
I think they will be if they lose that badly. But if they win, they're in.
If they win, they're in 100%.
And if they only lose by a late score, I think they'll be in it, barring another loss. So it's very important. We all know that. I haven't have you watched them yet, Brett?
Indiana? I have.
Yeah.
I
haven't watched enough of them. I've watched bits and pieces just to see what they look like, and they look the part. And I do think they've got a coach that can keep this thing rolling in the world of NIL. You can buy a program, and you can get the right guys out there and win consistently. And I think Indiana's got a chance to do that. But it's a big start to it today. They've got to beat a very talented Ohio State team.
Well, Will Howard comes over from Kansas State to quarterback Ohio State. He's thrown for almost 2,500 yards, got 24 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But Rourke for Indiana, 2,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. So both of these quarterbacks, again, like a broken record, great quarterback play will get you to the top of the mountain. And if you have mediocre quarterback play and you have a discombobulated offense, you'll sit there with a mediocre record. And that's the difference in college football today. I don't care. I think you can build a roster. I think you can get good enough pieces everywhere with the transfer portal and being able to recruit. But the thing that takes you over the top is elite quarterback play. And every team up there in the top 12, you go up and down the list, every one of them have a great quarterback or a quarterback that's above average. Let's put it that way. It may not be elite, but they're above average, and they give their team a chance to win every time they go on the field.
That's what I know you're trying to tee me up, Brett. But I'm sure when we get into this next segment talking Auburn football, that's exactly where we're going to go. Where we're going to go with this, because we see the pieces being put together outside of that. But it's important to make sure you get that key piece right.
All right, let's get to our next break. Everybody, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown coming up right after this.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I got to have some coffee.
Go ahead.
I think everybody wants me to have some.
That 11 o'clock start for 11 o'clock start for a game like Indiana, Ohio State. I think the Big Ten, they're missing the boat, man. I think they're missing the boat bad. That might be some of the loudest banging around I've ever heard in my life. If y'all want to know what's going on in the background, there's some coffee making going on in the process. That might have been some of the loudest banging around and pouring of water and stuff I've ever heard in my life.
You could hear that?
It was loud as I'm talking about. I told everybody, I said, for those of you that may have just tuned in and wondered what was going on, that you weren't in the bathroom and you were making some coffee, because it was.
But I'm like 3 rooms over.
Oh, it was loud. I mean, it's like you took the phone with you. Justin said, "Old barista Randy."
Yeah, I'm definitely a barista. Got some Dunkin' Donuts, K-Pods going.
Wade woke up. He just tuned in at 8:24. I'm glad you got out of the bed.
I've always noticed that, Brett, on Saturday.
Right.
I wish I was that guy that's just tuning in at 8:30.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
One of those. They roll over and turn over there, see what they got going on, what they've said. I've been up for 14 hours. Wade sent some kind of link over here on something. I don't know what it is. Justin said, "Who sleeps later, Wade or Andy?" I can tell you it's probably Andy. I mean, I'm going to tell you what the opposite of that used to be in college was Andy. Is that son of a gun, boy? I tell you, he would when he finally went to sleep, he'd be in a cave, man. He could not get him to come out. It was like a bear in hibernation.
I can feel it.
He wore a shirt that used to say, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." And I said, that is the biggest BS shirt you've ever put on in your life. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. To all of you that are waking up to the fresh smell of eggs and bacon and coffee and are just getting out of the bed, we're glad that you joined us here with about 30 minutes left in the show today. And again, lots of fun here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Really, really fun having all of you comment and come in. I just said this while you were over there brewing up a big pot of coffee that everybody could hear, that I think the Big Ten is missing it. Their best game is at 11 o'clock this morning. You know, this Big Ten showdown, this at noon deal. I mean, I get it. They want that game. They want that time frame. They don't want to compete. But prime time, man, is where the big games are, dude. And, I mean, this is a huge game, and it's about to kick off here in about an hour.
Well, help me out. You know, Luke keeps up with this a little better than the rest of us, but are the ratings good? Do they help to have that game separated from when our best games are?
That may be the decision they made, and why they made it is they didn't want to go in competition to a Texas versus Georgia game or something.
They're not going to win that battle anyway from a rating standpoint.
Right.
So
right.
I bet if you look at it, Brett, I hate it being that early in the morning, and Auburn fans, of course, can't stand early morning games because we've never really seemed to perform well in them. But
right.
I bet the ratings are better with them doing it that way. And I tell you, their pregame show may be the best one out there.
Do you like it?
I do. I tell you why I like it. There's a lot of moving parts going on.
Right.
With them out on the field.
Yeah.
The way that they intermingle, you know, celebrities and stuff that end up showing up in some of these games. I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I think their talent's good too.
I'm not a Mark Ingram fan. Never have been. I can't stand him. Look, I know I'm an Auburn guy, and look, I got Alabama players that I like, and I've told you that. You and I have said that before on the show. There's guys I really like that were Alabama players, but if I have an number one guy that I don't like, it's at the top of the list as an Auburn fan. It's Mark Ingram. Smug, cocky, I don't like it. Just don't like his style. So I don't tune in because of him. So, and that's good. And I know every Alabama fan watching goes, well, he got sour grape. Well, guess what? I'll eat the sour grapes. I don't like the guy. So that's just
it's that one talent that bothers you with it. Then.
Yeah, I don't like
right?
it. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the pieces are good. I like it.
I agree.
I mean, but outside of that, I think he's a little bit too much.
And the play-by-play call is the best. You got to give him that.
Gus Johnson?
Yes.
Hey, Gus Johnson is we got a good friend that works with us on HSA and Corey the Bounty. And if Gus Johnson and Corey the Bounty aren't brothers, They're brothers from another mother because they have the same style. I
Yes.
love they a lot of Gus Johnson remind. So Corey, if you're watching, man, dude, your style's unique and Gus Johnson's style's unique and how excited he gets and all that.
I love it. Hey, why not enjoy what you're doing? You know, I say that about people that compliment or say something about one of our broadcasts on Friday night. I want you to tune in and know that you and I care as much as anybody, whether we win or lose. Absolutely. And we're going to cheer like we're sitting in the stands. And if you don't like that, then I'm sorry. I guess you can find some other outlet to tune it in, but we don't hear that a lot, I must say. But
no.
Yeah, I love his call. You can tell he is obsessed with the profession that he chose, and he does it really, really well. So that goes a long way too, Brett. I mean, you watch one of those games, you get into it because of the play-by-play call.
There's no doubt. Justin said Greg McElroy is professional, does a good job. And I really do like Greg McElroy. He is unbiased as anybody can be. I mean, he catches a lot of flack from Alabama fans because he calls things like they are. He's not a daggum homer. And, when you make Cole Cubelic, he's not a homer. Cole Cubelic is tried and true Auburn. I mean, he makes no bones about it. But when he's on camera and he's on part of a network, you wouldn't know he was an Auburn guy. A lot of times he's critical of Auburn. He's been very critical of Auburn. He said something a couple weeks ago. He said, "Man, I just don't think they're good at football." I mean, that's what he's paid to do. Don't you become untrustworthy when it's all orange and blue glasses or crimson and white glasses. You got to be able to see through them. And Wade said, "I hate his face." Talking about Mark Ingram. I'm with you. I don't have it. There's nothing about that guy I like. And I like Trent Richardson. Man, Trent Richardson probably one of my favorite Alabama running backs. And I hated it when he played against us, but I thought he probably more than any of the running backs should have gotten the Heisman Trophy. And he didn't get it. Robert Griffin got it from Baylor that year, but I thought Trent Richardson deserved it more than Mark Ingram did. We held him to less than 100 yards in that Iron Bowls. I thought we sealed his fate, but the kid from Stanford that year, I thought probably deserved it. Gerhart, maybe. I know I'm firing up all these Alabama fans. I'm pissing every one of them off. I know that
He's
now
trying.
by saying all this stuff.
He loves it.
But anyway, again,
blowtorch Wade. Blowtorch Pritchard.
And T-Bone's sitting there in the distance. All right, you got BYU at Arizona State. Hey, that game has implications on playoffs. That game will kick off at 2:30 this afternoon. Army will go to Notre Dame. That's a 9-0 Army going to Notre Dame. Can Army dash Notre Dame's hopes here?
Yeah, they can. That's not a world-beating Notre Dame team. That's one to watch. I really like watching Army and Navy when they're good. Air Force with that option game that they play when they really got it going, because they don't have a choice, Brett. They've got to play some type of style like a Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech-led team where the style matches to be able to even the playing field. So that'll be a great one. I bet it'll be a big fan sport out there for Army in that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's the games from around the country that are of note that match up, some ranked opponents and some key games outside of the SEC. We'll go ahead. We've got a couple minutes left in this segment. Let's go ahead and dive into these games. We'll start with Alabama. Alabama goes to Oklahoma, and they'll take on a lame duck Oklahoma team. At the beginning of the season, when you look at that schedule, you go, man, that's a tough road. Alabama's got to go to Oklahoma, and then they got to play Auburn in the Iron Bowl. But this is a 14-point spread. Alabama favored in this game. It'll be a 6:30 kickoff. Is there anything Oklahoma can do to stay in this game?
Force turnovers, get short fields and score when they get the chance, and get the crowd into it. They'll be rabid. That's all I can say. I mean, Alabama, it feels like they're getting better. You said that this week. You felt like Alabama's playing the best in the SEC right now. But Jalen Milroe has those games where you go, you just brought us back to the fold. You didn't play well. You turned the football over.
He's their offense, Randy. He's their leading rusher and their, obviously leading passer. So
yeah, so he's the difference maker. He's the X factor. Really needs to play well to continue moving on. So Jalen Milroe, though, as my dog just walked in to say hello to you, Brett.
I heard the dog come in.
The dog is in. He's awake. He'll be with us the last 25 minutes of the program today.
The dog woke up, smelled the bacon and eggs in the coffee.
No, there's no eggs. There's no bacon being cooked. There is some coffee that I brewed, but all that cooking's not happening.
All right, well, let's get to break, and then we come back. We'll talk more about Alabama, Oklahoma, and then Auburn and Texas A&M tonight. You and I both will be there. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Let me go get my coffee, Brett.
Yeah, go ahead, man. We'll listen. We'll all listen as you go get it.
Did they see her?
No, she didn't get on, but
I can hear Kendall in the background.
Brett said hello. He can hear you.
Can hear me?
Yeah.
Don't say anything bad, Kendall.
Yeah, don't say anything bad, Kendall. Be nice. Yeah, I had the doors closed, Brett.
Yeah.
Rosie just barreled right on in.
Come on in. Copper's in the bedroom with Kim.
Anybody knows Brett Pritchard, y'all. If you walk into a Brett Pritchard and Kim Pritchard house, there's going to be a dog attack, and it's going to be barking non-stop. So for you to keep your dogs quiet while you're on, they don't bark until somebody comes to the door. I mean, but if that happens, it's a problem. Isn't it?
Who is loud, Russ? Randy? I don't know.
What, am I peeking?
I guess, I don't know. I can't tell. It don't sound like you peeking to me. Hey, Russ, I started the clock a little bit late on this one, so you're going to have to tell me. I'm at 41 seconds, so how long have we been at break? I should have started it about 40 seconds ago. So I'm going to just subtract 40 seconds. So I'll come back. I know this was 3:19, so I'll come back about 2:45, okay? It's the only break I missed the clock.
You need to be paying attention, Brett.
Should be. Well, you and your coffee and dogs and stuff have me all out of whack. Been good. A lot of comments, a lot of viewers. Appreciate it. 1 minute left now, so that's going to be about right, Russ. I'm pretty spot on. So I'll go to 1:30. I'll go to 2:35.
You about to make me talk Auburn football?
Yep, you got to talk about it because we're going to win today. We are, man. I'm telling you. And then when the third quarter rolls around and we're down 14, I'll say, well, I was wrong. Wrong. Hope not. We need something positive.
Kendall.
Ten seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple segments left in the show this morning. We want to thank everybody for joining us here on the program, and we'll dive into the rest of Alabama real quick. Alabama at Oklahoma. Just your thoughts real quick on what they got to do to win.
Well, I said it earlier. I think Oklahoma must win the turnover margin. They've got to get some short fields and cash in some points. It's a much better Alabama team than Oklahoma. But, Brett, playing on the road in the SEC, and I know Oklahoma's new to the SEC, but they've got an SEC feel. It's always difficult. You don't know what you're going to get. I expect a 2-touchdown win for Alabama, but Brett, it's still Oklahoma. I mean,
You still got to go out. You still got to go out there. So
it's still probably what people think about when they come to Auburn.
Right.
That it's going to be a difficult win no matter what goes on, and I think the same here. But I would expect a 2-touchdown win for Alabama today.
All right, let's go over to Auburn. Hey, this matchup predictor for ESPN has shifted. It's 58 now for Texas A&M and 42 for Auburn. This thing's coming closer to the middle. I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of momentum this week from Vegas and all the radio shows that you and I kind of take a gander to and listen and watch from time to time. The national guys, not the guys that are local like us that cover it every day, but when their take is that Auburn's poised to get a big win at home. This is their first night game in the SEC. We know, like we talked to Jason Caldwell yesterday. He said the buzz around campus is like it's a daggum Iron Bowl or a Georgia game, and it's old school. And then there's, a spot in the SEC championship game on the line, and I love that. I'm glad there's still that kind of energy around it. I think Auburn is playing better football. I know that's hard to say. I think they are playing a little bit, especially on the defensive side. That's gotten better and better, and we know defense can put you in position. They have Auburn all year, but if the offense can click, I think any opponent would be in trouble. But the problem is they ain't clicked this year.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, so until it does, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I know you got your hopes up again today, Brett, and I hate to see them dashed.
The dashing is just, it'll be what it is.
But I'll be there. I'll be out there tailgating. You can see behind me, I'm in Auburn right now. It's beautiful, beautiful weather. It's going to be a little colder, but it has a brisk football feel to it that I think a lot of people are embracing. I expect it to be a rabid fan base tonight. Night game at Jordan-Hare, a big game like that we haven't had in quite some time. And so very much looking forward to it. I hope the product we put out there on the field serves what this Auburn community deserves, with as much support as they get from the fan base here at Auburn. But I have my doubts. Offensively, we just haven't been able to consistently put up points. Even here at Jordan-Hare, it hasn't helped. You and I looked at the numbers yesterday. We're probably averaging 2 touchdowns a game here at Jordan-Hare, and that's not against some world-beating defense. When Vandy holds you to 7, you got to go back and question life and what has happened and how has our program gotten to this point. Can they play better? Sure, but here's the biggest X factor in this football game and worth watching as we get in.
What's the best? I'm sorry, Randy. I want to ask you this question real quick, and I'll let you get back to your X factor. What's the best football game Auburn's played all year? Now, take out even in a loss, okay? Just kind of keep that in mind, because don't use La Monroe and Alabama A&M and all that. What's Auburn's best performance? What's their worst? What's the worst? Because everything else is usually who you are. You have that real bad game, you have that real good game, and then everything else is really who you are. What are those for all?
Best performance, Oklahoma. Should have won the football game.
I agree.
Should have scored when we were up 21-10 and we were moving the ball. Should have extended that thing out to a 14 to 18 point lead.
I agree.
And won it going away. So best performance outside of just, like you said,
game.
All
outside
4 wheels falling off. But Kentucky, and it's the worst one for me because it's Kentucky and Vandy. I mean, if we get to the point where we're celebrating wins against Kentucky or Vandy,
right,
we've hit a level that none of us understand. The worst by far is Vandy. 7 points against Vandy. And the way that we scored the 7, with Fairweather picking that ball up off his shoe tips and finding his way into the end zone being the only score that we got in the ball game. I don't care what someone sells me. That's Vanderbilt. And if you get used to Vandy only holding you at Jordan-Hare Stadium to 7 points, you've hit a new low. You've hit a new low for me.
All right, get back to your X factor. I didn't want to cut you
X factor's red zone offense. You look at this ball game, we're the worst in the SEC, and opposition is going to be the best in the SEC. I think they've scored something like 29 touchdowns on the season in the red zone.
They have.
We're at 16.
Yep.
Is that the right number?
That's right. Yep.
That's a massive difference. We're getting to the red zone. We just can't get the football into the end zone. And Texas A&M tells me, even though their stats don't say this really, but they're averaging 215 yards per game rushing. We're averaging 175. I can't be told.
They don't have their starting running back.
They don't have their starting running back, but if that's how you got in there, you're going to keep playing that way. So which team can run the football inside the red zone and get the football into the end zone? I know that could be an X factor every game, but it's even more so today when the opposition's the best in the conference and we're the worst.
How about let's get up? How about the dream scenarios for Auburn to play off this crowd and get up like they did against Oklahoma? Now, Oklahoma jumped out 7-0, but Auburn battled back and took control of the game. Okay, so get up, get the crowd into the game, and then don't do stupid stuff. How about that? Then just be real simple, and they started doing that. Wade talked about it earlier in the week. We had the game plan. We were running it down Oklahoma's throat, and he just can't stand it. And we got to go back to the air, and we just gave them an opportunity to get back into the football game. And we're talking about the Oklahoma game again. And then that's what ended up costing Auburn the football game because you, in essence, gave Oklahoma 2 free timeouts. And then we're down 21-10, and you go down and miss the field goal. They had a big play, and now it's a 1-score game again. So the momentum changed right there at the beginning of the fourth quarter. If Auburn can get a lead, give the ball to Jarquez Hunter and let that guy eat, man. Let him run the football and control the clock. Don't quit throwing the ball all over the field. Now, if you got a shot and there's a play there, take it. But for the most part, say, we're content to have a lead and try to just pound this thing down your throat and win it in the fourth quarter.
I hate to be Debbie Downer, but we got to see if that's what we're willing to do. And you take Kentucky game, you follow it up at home when you would expect Auburn to continue to do what they did in that game, 278 yards rushing. We come back and we go way away from it, and then we have a press conference at the end of the game where we go, I looked over there, and Jarquez Hunter, who touched the football twice in the second half, gassed.
Right.
It's head scratching. It's the disappointing part of where we currently sit as Auburn fans. But this is a massive, massive football game, Brett. And if we don't get this thing right, I'm scared some of the recruits that we have committed to us are not going to hold on. And that's the biggest part of this ball game is how many kids we've got in checking Auburn out today. And we need to put our best foot forward.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's get to our last break of the show. Stay tuned. One final segment coming up here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
You can't beat these the headsets, Brett.
Oh, they're the bomb, dude.
Man, I love doing shows with the headset on.
Well, just it brings you into an element, kind of takes everything away.
Yeah.
And you're able to concentrate more for sure. Hey, again, we got like Luke, like instead of calling in, I could send that link to Luke and he could come in and do an Alabama segment with us.
Be great.
It'd be all three of us up here. So we can do anything. We can have as many as 10 people on here at one time. So
we'll start doing more of that.
I don't think 10. We don't need a Zoom call, but I mean, you can set it up that way, and you can set it up where you're private, like we do. Like we don't go live, and me and you meet. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about it. You can do whatever you want to do from this thing.
Good. When you coming over?
We're probably going to leave I'd say about 12-ish.
Okay.
12, 1, somewhere around in there. Call and get Andy on. Andy ain't rolled over good yet. Andy is snooze fest, boy. I think he had the scoreboard show last night for the final time. So yeah. His eyelid, he's seeing the back of his eyelids right now. Yeah, I enjoy this format. I enjoy being able to
stay up,
just do this, and we'll be back in the studio from time to time for this show for sure. But this does make it easy for all of us and gets Luke back in the fold. Luke's been on a 2-year hiatus. I had to figure out a way to get him back to working again. Oh, I'm in Nigeria today on a safari, so I need to. Okay, well then take your laptop with you and click on the link when I send it to you.
Yeah, download Starlink.
There's one thing that he's not going to be found is on a safari anywhere or in the woods. He's not.
No.
You ain't gonna have to worry about him doing that.
He's on a road driving.
Yeah, he's burning up a road somewhere. No doubt. All right, so we got about a minute here. Russ, good job in the studio, brother. Appreciate you. I mean, this thing's been smooth. He said, I've been nailing these brakes right on, man. So,
Okay.
I do what I do over here.
Yeah, he's great at that.
Master technician.
Old blowtorch.
Old master technician. We do blowtorch Brett and ranting Randy.
There you go. I'll take that.
The old ranting Randy. Poor Russ. The only team is worse than us is Mississippi State. And he happens to be an Auburn and Mississippi State fan. I don't know if you can pick worse. All right, here we go. Here we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. We're kind of giving Russ, our producer, back in the studio. Heck, Russ played for Mississippi State back in the day, was a running back. Russ, I've heard some stories on you, man, on how fast you were. Yeah, I mean, phenomenal player. Went on to play in the SEC, man. Neither of us can say we played in the SEC.
No,
sure.
We can't. But what you did say during the break that I'm gonna bring up is poor old Russ. He's a Mississippi State fan, ex-player, and he also leans towards Auburn. Man, you have made some poor decisions in your life. In 2024 football, could you be in a worse spot?
Yeah, at the time it probably wasn't a bad choice,
No.
But now it has morphed into that for sure. But anyway, final thoughts here. We got to get out here in a few minutes, a short segment here to end the show. Again, want to remind everybody as we talk about it, we're going to keep saying it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and find Auburn Blitz and subscribe. All of our content goes live there. You can comment away on the shows and be part of them there. Again, want to thank everybody that joins us every single time we're on the air. Now, we'll be at the football game. I think all three of us will be there tonight. So how we'll get a live show in, reaction show, you'll just have to bear with us. We used to have a guy say, you just have to bear with us, man. We had a producer used to say that. So we'll figure it out. If we don't go live, we will do one tomorrow for sure, 100%, because it'll be late tonight. And again, depending on where we are and how we can get access, we'll decide if we're going to do it tonight or if we'll do it in the morning. Again, high school football down to the semifinals in 1A through 6A. The 7A championship game is set. It's a rematch of Phoenix City and Thompson. And, here we have been for 14 weeks. And, these teams in 7A, well, you better watch this. You better watch that. And it ends up being Phoenix City and Thompson again. So, hey, cream rises to the top. No cut on any other teams. They had some great seasons. I know Auburn had a phenomenal season that ended in disappointment. But until somebody knocks Thompson and Phoenix City off, I don't care what you do in the regular season. Those two teams know how to win when the chips are on the table.
Going to be a great one. We're in Birmingham this year. I've had some ask, why is it not in Tuscaloosa? Why is it not in Auburn anymore? Well, you got the 12-team playoff. And so those two communities, at least Tuscaloosa, we hope Auburn has to worry about it at some point. They hadn't had to worry about it in a long time. We could just go ahead and do it in Auburn every year, the way the current football is rolling. But I'm not trying to beat you down anymore, Brett. But yes, that is the change up. There's some other communities that are in the mix now. But we've already done it at Progressive Stadium once. Beautiful facility, great press box area. We're looking forward to it. Should be some great matchups that will come on. And that's in the next couple of weeks. And Brett and I'll be over to call the nightcaps on Thursday and Friday of those 2 weeks. And man, you look at 5A and 6A, I'm starting to pay attention, Brett. The storylines that we're going to have going into both of those classifications are going to be outstanding.
I'm looking forward to it. It's our favorite time of the year. And Going to be some great football over the next couple of weeks for sure. So if you've never been to a Super 7, do yourself a favor, come up to Birmingham, take in some of those football games. It's always a lot of fun, and I love Protective Stadium. It's a perfect venue for high school football, especially in some of the bigger classifications. They come close to filling that place up, which makes for a great environment. About a minute to go, so I'll get your thoughts on Auburn real quick. Who's going to win it?
If we can get to 20, I think we can win it. I don't think we can get to 20. At least we haven't gotten to 20 consistently at home this year against good opponents. So I'm kind of where Wade is. I think it's more of a 24-14 Texas A&M win. I think our defense is good enough to hold them down to that. But if we get to 20, that's the magic number. We can win the ball game.
Yeah, I didn't officially make a prediction yesterday on the show, so I'll do it here. I think Auburn's going to win the game 24-20. I think Auburn will get to 20. I think they'll get over the hump. I think they'll do enough to win this game instead of lose it like they did against Oklahoma. Again, at least that's wishful thinking on my part. I'm going to try to stay positive with the last home game of the season with so much riding on it and everything that's going on. So it's going to be a good environment. I'm looking forward to it. Another sold-out game, last game of the season in Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's going to be brisk out there, cool. So wear your long shirt and long pants and get ready to yell. But that's going to wrap it up here for the Saturday Sports Countdown. Again, thanks to all of you out there that join us, and appreciate all of you out there. And thanks to JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for all they do. So, Randy, good to see you, brother. We'll see you at Auburn here in a few hours, and everybody have a great weekend. We've enjoyed it. We'll see you next Saturday.